Dear students, in the last session we have learned how to load the fragments and how to use the same fragment for multiple purpose. So whenever the user clicks on home, home will be loaded, about fragment will be loaded, contact us fragment will be loaded. In our case, we have used the same fragment, home fragment, for contact us fragment, say for multi-purpose. So in this session, we'll look into how to communicate between the fragments. Whenever the user clicks on home fragment, about fragment should be loaded. Whenever the user clicks on about fragment, the contact us fragment should be loaded. This is where the interface plays very important role. As you know that the fragment won't be knowing on which host it has been loaded. So in order to communicate effectively, we will be using interface. So now coming to home fragment, so let us declare one variable for the fragment, private fragment connector, and m fragment connector. So onAttach is a method where we'll be getting the instance of an activity on which this fragment will be attached. So here we will check whether this context is same as the hosting activities context instance of. If it is the instance of fragment connector class, we will initialize that object, that is fragment connector object, interface object. We'll be typecasting it to fragment connector. It is get activity. Okay. So once we have initialized, the onCreateView method is where we'll be getting the instance of the views that has been loaded. So fragment underscore home. We have defined the button with the ID fragment underscore home underscore button. Let us initialize that. In create view, so we will define one button, say click me button. We'll typecast it to button view dot find view by ID r dot id dot fragment home button. So we will set up one event listener. So whenever the user clicks that button, click me dot set on click listener, new on click listener. Either we can pass the context and we can override the we can implement unimplemented method, or we can define in this way also. Inside instead of passing the context, we can define the new on click listener event and we can override here also. So whenever the user clicks on that particular button, so we will call that fragment connector interface. It has got a method called communicate with the activity. We need to send some data. So we will define three constants over here, which we can use it for this navigation purpose. Public static final string home fragment, okay, button is equal to home fragment button. Similarly for other three, okay, similarly for other one, that is the about fragment, sorry, this is about fragment, okay, about. So we can come to home fragment. Here we'll pass main activity dot, this is home fragment, right? So we can pass home fragment. Similarly, we can go to about fragment in the onAttach method. Before going to onAttach method, we will define one fragment connector object. We will initialize that in onAttach method if context is the instance of a fragment connector class. So we will initialize the fragment connector, typecast it to fragment connector, get activity. In the on create view, we will define one button with the ID. We can set the listener whenever the user clicks on that particular button. Instead of passing this data, so we will pass main activity dot we'll pass about fragment button. Here we have implemented the fragment interface and it has got its method called fragment connect with activity. So here we can check if a data dot equals to about fragment. Whenever the user clicks on the button about fragment, we need to load the connector, this one contact fragment. So in our case we are using the same, that is the home fragment for two purpose. So we'll pass the parameter as 2. So else if a data dot equals, if it is from a home fragment, we will load about fragment. So this is how we communicate. So we will implement the interface in the host activity. We will use the instance of the interface and we will call the particular methods and we will pass the data over there, and according to the data that we receive in the host activity, we will be loading the fragments according to our needs. So let us compile this application and we'll have a look at its output. So here is the output. Whenever we click on a button that is present in home fragment, about fragment will be called. So whenever the user clicks on the button that is present in about fragment, the same home button fragment will be loaded for the different purpose, that is contact us. Okay. So now when the user clicks on this is home fragment. We have not overridden these button features, but still it acts as home button. So about fragment will be loaded. So in this session we have learned how to load the fragments and how to communicate with the fragments using the interfaces, and how to use the dryer layout to load the different fragments, and how to use the list view concept in the action bar dryer toggle button. And these are the things that we have learned in this session, and that's it for this session. Thank you. Have a great day.